should have really surprised him and skipped the entire distance. Because we don't, because we don't get to see that too much anymore. And the closest you could go is just finding a guy named Skip and make him angry. That's about it. Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday night. This is Night Terrors Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Ash Hamilton of horror-fix.com. We got a great show lined up for you tonight, even though we don't know what the hell it is. But we are going to have a lot of fun doing it. Grob Pastilli has spent 6 hours on prep time.
He seems upset.
Only to be practically shunned previous to us going on the air, as most of us just looked off camera as though we didn't care. How's everybody doing tonight?
Great. Just great.
I don't even know if Rob's mic is on.
I'm doing fine.
Is it on?
Oh, it's on, but what does it matter? What does it matter?
Oh, here we go.
We're joined tonight by E.J. Hammond and Brian Cardilli, King of the Hill People,
Yes.
Yes.
as he's known in certain circles. We do have a great show lined up for you tonight. What we don't usually get to do is we don't usually get to just sort of go off topic and bullshit. Actually, we do that every single show, but we don't do it for the entirety of the show, which is something that we're bringing you tonight. So if you are watching,
because nobody else went along with the show prep.
Nobody did. It was so well laid out. Like, he did everything where if there was a point A, there was also a point B. And that's the way you have to do it. I mean, I think it was absolutely perfect.
I applaud you, Rob.
Yeah, just nobody read it.
I think you did.
I read mine.
I think you did a great job.
I didn't receive anything.
I really do. And EJ has just been thrown into this blindly.
Well, because it was sent to Ash to
I
send.
have no
to
idea
you.
what's going on.
It was sent to Ash to send to you
Ah,
because I am not friends on Facebook with you yet. You have
oh, okay. We need to remedy that.
Can I tell everyone in a weak justification of why I didn't do my work this week?
No.
Of just how busy I've been. Can we
Hang on a
just
second.
take
Hang on.
Can we just take a
Nope,
minute?
Still can't fucking hear you.
One of these days, Rob's going to count to 2. But right now, he's just number 1. It's been a busy week. It's been like an extremely busy week. So, by the way, if you ever make a movie and then you have to do a variety of things for the film, like to, prep it. When people have production teams, team is a great word.
It's called being a fluffer.
Right. That's what I said.
That's the other movie.
That's what I said. When you're prepping your movie, like I do at least once a day,
Right.
because that way I make good decisions.
So like when your dad would bang on the bathroom door, stop prepping your movie in there.
Oh, no.
Right. Back then I had a full head of hair, so it was just combing my hair.
Were you more attracted to yourself when you had more hair?
I've been real solid the entire time, actually. So even through the changes, I've been like, oh, hey, look at you,
Looking
Mr.
good.
Sunshine.
Did you something about Mary the hair too? Did you have it?
No.
Not
Nice.
intentionally.
Well,
Right.
right. It's an accident.
Although
Yep.
since we're going a little bit like off format tonight, so I think for the longest time, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I think for the longest time, my biological father thought I was homosexual, right? I'm from the Midwest, and I read a lot.
Jury's still out here in Rochester, New York. So
Well,
Nice.
those two elements alone put me into a very slender category of kids my age, between like 15 to 18. So I ended up dating this girl, and I had a day off. She was older than I was, and I had a day off from school, right? So she came over, and Now, at this point, my parents had divorced. My father was no longer living in the marital estate, as it were. So there was no one home. I've got the day off from school. My older girlfriend is coming over. And I'm like, we should do some of the sex. And we did. Now, normally the old man walks around like he has microphones taped to his feet, right? A herd of horses. However, in this one occasion, he must have come in.
Ninja.
Oh yeah. Like, on a wire, smoke pellets,
Wow.
crawling on the side of the wall like a fucking gecko, all the way up the stairs. And the door doesn't even, I don't know what he thought was going on there. Like, it would have been obvious standing outside the room, the sex is happening.
He
But-
thought you were doing show prep.
Yeah.
He thought, for 6 hours.
For 6 hours.
That's how chafing happens when you do show prep for 6 hours.
Wow.
So he kicks open my door like it's a fucking home invasion, right? Again, as if he didn't, you could hear the sexing. At that point, it should have been a knock on the door or something like, slow it down, pal, or I would have,
Or leave it be.
or just, thank God.
Go downstairs and make a sandwich.
Thank God the fruit of my loins is having a good time on his day off.
Right.
I wouldn't have kicked the door in on my old man. Ever. Actually, for any
Never.
reason. Because he wasn't all that pleasant. So even if I just thought he was in there putting on his socks, I'm like, I'll let it go. I'll talk to him later. But kicks the door open, of course, we're sexing. And here's the deal. I thought he was going to be sort of upset. And I don't know why. I guess just because, I'm sexing in his house and, he's supposed to be like the headmaster of sex or whatever. And he's got to write a note before I can do it or whatever. And it was unsanctioned. But he kicks open the door and the first thing that comes out of his mouth. Now, mind you, I'm nude. My girlfriend is nude. We are in the middle of intercourse. And he looks at me and goes, thought you had school today.
Wow.
As if nothing else was happening. But the old man was so ready to kick my ass for something that the idea that I had taken off from school to have sex, that was the offense. And
Yeah.
then I couldn't even muster like, oh no, it's parent-teacher conference today, Dad. And in fact, we've got early dismissal on Thursday at 2:45. Just wanted to, I could have went through that, but instead I look at the old man and I say, oops. My grand response to everything was oops. Now, what I'm wondering is what did that actually service in our conversation? Because I didn't deny the idea of taking the day off, but I had the day off. I genuinely had the day off from school. But instead of saying, no, Dad, we have the day off, or would you kindly shut the fucking door, or whatever, I just said, oops.
Yeah.
I say that a lot while sexing.
Like it was just like a general misstep. Oops.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just, all of a sudden, I turned Canadian. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's some
Sorry.
oopses and sorries and my bad.
Plus, there's maple syrup all over the place.
That's very sticky.
Too.
Is that what we're calling it?
We're calling.
So I do apologize to Rob, who did have 6 hours of show prep in tonight for the show. And I totally shit the bed on it. I looked at it and I looked at it and went, nope. It's something entirely different
Not gonna
because
do it.
that's what ADD
Wow.
does. That's how it works. In other news, I did get a new a U filter for my microphone. So I traded in the round pop filter for my new U filter, which I feel is less invasive. I don't know if you noticed that or not, Rob.
For a show with no content at all.
For a show with
Yeah.
absolutely no content at all.
So is this like Seinfeld? Show about nothing?
This is tonight. We are totally.
It's worse than that. It's worse than
It's
that.
worse than Seinfeld. Damn.
So we have in my neck of the woods, we're having these stores pop up that are called treasure hunt stores. Like, does anybody have anything like? And it's relatively new. We're talking like within like 6 months. We've had quite a few of these stores pop up, and essentially what the store is that they buy like Amazon open box items, like huge pallets.
Okay.
Oh, we do have one of those.
You
here.
do?
Yes, it's called Pick a Pallet, I believe it's called.
Oh, I need to go there.
The problem is you get the whole pallet.
That's fine.
Oh, so is it blind?
It's yes, you can see what's on the like the outside of it. So you could, I really like that 10-speed bike, and then what's behind the 10-speed bike? Who knows?
Right. It's like as a grown man, you just bought 45 kilos of tampons.
Right.
You could have.
I have a great story about
You could deliver them
Wow.
on your bike.
I
people
can't
in
wait
need.
for this
All
segue
right.
So,
where 45 dozen tampons led into this story. I can't wait.
Yep.
I'm at the
No, that was
grocery
45 kilos, Brian.
Or kilos,
Kilos.
whatever.
Because when you have that many tampons, it's like drug money.
I got distracted by tampons. I couldn't remember the exact.
You might as well be. You
measurement.
might as well be running a cartel when you have
You're right.
45 kilos of tampons at your disposal.
It's true.
I was at the grocery store with my reusable shopping bags. Went to pull one of the reusable shopping bags out of the sack of reusable shopping bags, and apparently someone else had been using that reusable shopping bag prior to me, and I threw a tampon about 20 feet across the across the store as I was, shaking the bag to, fluff it out to,
That is a beautiful story.
Hey, nobody bothered to do the show prep, so I'm going to tell whatever fucking story I want.
Oh, this is punishment. No,
Now,
I
did-
can't. I
did
can't
it
tell
go
you how
head
many
over
times
tail?
I've done that. I've done that with tampons coming out of my purse. You'll grab for one thing, and that tampon comes out. It goes across the room.
It just happens. It's one
I
of
had
those.
great.
that problem with weed when I was like in high school. It's like I
Did
could
you?
have a pocket that was like a depth of 2 feet, and the penny would be right next to my hip, but somehow I would pull any weed I had out with like the penny at the absolute worst times, and it would always like land right on my shoe. So I'd always have to distract everyone in the room from what I was doing, mainly like my parents.
It's got to be a talent.
I wasn't very good at it either,
No.
unfortunately. It
Oh no.
it looked like I was playing hacky sack with a bag of oregano. Yeah, it wasn't working for anyone really.
Wow.
So I like these treasure hunt places, Rob. Ours is different, by the way. So what they do is that they have a lot of these long, narrow tables, and they open the boxes up like every Friday at 9 a.m. Like this is going to turn into some kind of Stephen King-esque, like The Running Man story. The way that they do this to incite the masses is that they rip open these Amazon boxes and they just proceed to empty the boxes out like a trough for us little piggies.
Ugh.
We're in there at 9 a.m. to get all of these open box Amazon items, and it's tons of it. Like the place is huge. So you've got like
Wow.
the people who are really committed, who are there like at the doors, right? 9 a.m. on
Oh.
Fridays,
Yeah,
because
to
they-
get first pick. Yeah.
so they can get their first pick. And then, every day that the place is still open, it goes down like $1 or $2. So the very first day that all this shit goes out, it's $8. Like everything's $8. So you go in and you find all your stuff for $8, and then, the following day it goes to like $6. They knock $2 more off of it, and then it's $5, and then I think that they skip 4, and they go straight to 3. By the time you hit $3, though, it's like the shake at like the bottom of the bag.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Like if you're there and there's an item that you're like, I'm not paying $8 for that. Let's come back Thursday. Right?
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't be buying anything.
It won't be there.
Right.
And it won't be there.
Right. But if that's, like you should just stay home.
Yeah, but that's where you like, you have to get clever. You have to hide it somehow.
Yes.
Like you have to put what you want like inside the box of, crushed Triscuit crackers.
Yeah.
That, nobody wants because they're just, I'm not paying $8 for a box of crushed Triscuits. They just don't realize it's inside that box.
Well, then it just becomes a salad topping anyways, right?
Right.
Like it's really no longer Triscuits.
How many other people are doing that?
There's like this place gets
I would
packed.
totally do that.
It gets absolutely what? Like shy away from the $8?
Yeah, maybe. That's what it is.
Right. I mean, like I said, what if it's the box of, Triscuits that's just mangled and that's why it got sent back
You take it as a consolation prize.
for $8?
If you don't get the thing you want, you got to walk out of there with something.
It's like the people at your garage sale who are like, I'm not paying $2 for that. How about $1.50? Are you what? Get off my lawn.
What I love is when somebody tries to bring somebody down when it's less than $1.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Right.
You
When
have
they're
a
like-
quarter on this. Would you take 15 cents?
Yeah, I'm not paying a quarter for this tie.
You've got
Tie.
80 cents on this Robin Hood Prince of Thieves
Prince of
soundtrack.
Thieves.
Would you take 65?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, I will.
And then because at that point you're like, can somebody just get this fucking soundtrack out of my life?
Right. Right.
I've
It's
had
like
it long enough. Now it's your turn.
there's a
Right.
negative
Right.
beside that 80 cents. This is how much I will give you
Right.
so that I do not have to listen to this Brian Adams song again.
I'll
Take
even
the
deliver
Robin Hood
to your
Prince of
house.
Don't hate
Thieves
on Brian Adams.
soundtrack
hate on my
away
man.
from me.
I'm actually okay with the Brian Adams song. It's probably just the whole rest of it.
Yeah,
But
right,
it's the fact that like I would love, by the way, if there's anyone in the chat room at all that can tell me another song other than the Brian Adams song on the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves soundtrack, I will give you another copy of the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves
I
soundtrack.
could do it. I could do it. I'm going to run to you. It's a
Oh,
great song.
Now that's funny.
your knowledge of the Robin Hood's Prince of Thieves soundtrack is unparalleled.
Oh, wait. No, sorry. You said
No,
on the
no.
soundtrack?
Yeah, that's on
I
Reckless.
don't know any other song on the soundtrack. Hold on.
Oh, you had me so impressed
no.
for a second.
No
I'll
cheating.
find out.
All right. Hey, we got to do news.
I was about
We
ready
have
to
do
name.
news.
We got to do news.
We got
Yeah.
Okay. Without further ado, let's roll that beautiful news intro. Bringing you things you never knew you wanted to know about and probably still don't. This is Night Terrors Radio News. We've got a couple of great news segments lined up for you tonight. Who would like to go first? King of the Hill people? Or Rob, I spent 6 hours on this pastilli.
I can go first.
Looks like Rob's raising his hand.
Oh, Rob, you're raising your hand.
No, it's you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I've
Okay.
never gone first. You've always gone first. So
I know.
this is new for me.
It's a
All
juxtaposition.
right. It is. And I'm excited.
Yeah, because I usually let
Oh.
everyone go first, and it's been a mistake in the past.
All right. Well, there's these identical twins out there, and they say that they have had 4, count them, 4 UFO encounters, including being abducted by aliens and seeing a pyramid-shaped object. Philip and Ronald Kinsella, both 52, obviously, from England. The first sighting was a silver orb at the age of 13. These guys, just right place, right time.
Because I was going to ask you, is it 4 total? Or is it like
total.
2 per twin?
No, 4. It seems like they've been together each time.
Are they conjoined twins?
They are not. They're just weird.
Just weird.
So they saw the silver orb at the age of 13. And then Philip claimed he was abducted by aliens in 1989. So apparently Ronald was not with him when that happened. But he said he remembers sitting in his home, atmosphere changed, became static. His hairs went up, and Ronnie went into a trance. So, they were together. He froze and raised his head up to the ceiling, and then he claimed he was examined by reptilian aliens on board a spaceship. They've seen a hovering pyramid-shaped object in June of 1998. And Philip at that point kind of figured, hey, there must be some kind of reason why this has been happening to both my brother and I. And they think the authorities know about the aliens, but don't want to scare people. And then they had a 4th encounter in 2016. So I'd like to meet these 2 guys. We got to try and get them on the show.
I just want to hear the doctor when like there was this weird thin piece of viscera connecting these twins, and the mother was like, "Are they conjoined?" Yeah. And the doctor just says, "No, they're just fucking weird."
Yeah, they're weird.
I think somebody just dropped a straw on them or something. It looks like there's something between them. That's it. Yeah.
So they're British?
Yes.
They're British?
Yeah. My favorite part is the last couple lines there. It says, it's a taboo subject. The deeper you dig, the murkier it gets. That's the whole UFO thing. Mm-hmm. It comes following an incomplete UFO report published by the U.S. Department of Defense. And then this article from The Sun says the report should have clarified the question of the existence of extraterrestrial UFOs. Yeah, it should have. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it should have.
I love that they had the option.
Yeah, yeah. We'll just we're gonna leave it kind of.
Because before we run this story, let's just go ahead and answer one of mankind's oldest questions,
like a 7th grade note.
Yeah.
Are UFOs? Yes. Check yes or check no.
Right, yeah.
Like me.
What about maybe?
Because you got to put maybe.
Put maybe on there.
Your opening statement is at fault because you can't tell us whether or not there are UFOs or not, Timothy.
So just the term UFO, unidentified flying object. Of course, there are probably plenty of those, but whether or not they carry aliens, the way we view them is not known.
Technically, if you're behind Rob Pastilli at the grocery store, you may indeed see an unidentified flying object.
Yes, you might.
Indeed.
And then identify it later.
Yes.
Well, and that's a big question right now, though, is that a lot of people who are seeing things are questioning whether or not these are piloted or manned, or if what we're seeing is simply a drone. And I think that's interesting to me because even though the idea of unmanned or unpiloted drones have been around for a very, very long time, the fact that the term drone is something that's sort of in more of the modern, lexicon of speech, right? Is that so many people are asking that question now, are these manned or unmanned things? We're seeing those like Tic Tac shaped UFOs, which seem to be pretty popular now, that people are saying maybe are definitely drones. But yeah, that's the big question. Even if it is unidentified and it's flying, it's an object, is this something that's piloted? Are we looking at aliens, or are we looking at something that could still be extraterrestrial in origin, but just there's no organic matter in there?
Right.
And maybe that's one of the bigger questions about space travel that we've had for a really long time, is that, it's not so much that we can't get an object from here to there. I mean, if we had the ability to make an object that could, be self-sustainable, which there's a higher likelihood that we can make a craft that can sustain itself for a longer period of time than its occupants.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look at Voyager 2, still going out there.
Voyager.
But here's the thing: do we have anything that we can use to scientifically view these items? Anything that's flying, a lot of times we find those things will fall eventually, and I don't see any evidence of that. And so that's why I remain skeptical. These cryptid ideas, Sasquatch and aliens. Why have we not found the evidence that we have of other things that we see in science every day? What is beyond the myth itself? Can we examine anything?
And I think that's probably why there's been this blanket hypothesis that has been roaming rampant for probably the last 20, 25 years, is that people used to take a look at, Bigfoot, skunk apes, lizard men, and they would say, these things are physical beings. They obviously have to adhere to the same physical, tangible laws of the universe that we do. Matter just not simply blinking out. There's got to be a remnant. There's got to be something left. And I think people now are saying this idea of these things might not necessarily be in the same reality as us, that we might be looking at something through the veil, and they might not necessarily be of flesh and blood, or at least flesh and blood the way, we think of them. I mean, this would be something where it's literally like we're just looking through a window. We're not really seeing something that's there. We're seeing something that is multidimensional, right? Interdimensional. So that seems to be sometimes, though, way too convenient for me.
Yeah. I mean, are we using that as kind of a placeholder, or are we using that as instead of evidence, we're just going to say, okay, it's a ghost, or it's something that we can't verify on this side of reality, for example? It just seems too easy for me just to put it's through the veil, for example.
And I think that's, again, the burden of proof that we have, that's the conclusion a lot of people have come to, is that we're just going to say, okay, it's interdimensional, it's multidimensional. However, I would say when we also look at the burden of proof, what we tend to forget is that it's much, much easier for at least one piece of this evidence to be real than it is for 100% of the evidence to not be. And I think when we look at that, go ahead, Rob.
I think too that we as humans, we are so ready to put our hands up and say no, rather than put our hands down and entertain the possibility. And I think what happens is we forget that the term paranormal, it just means above or beyond the normal. It doesn't necessarily mean that, everything is a ghost, everything is Bigfoot, everything is, it just means that there are things that are happening above and beyond the normal. That's all it means. That's all paranormal means. And I think when we get to the point where every time someone presents you with something and you go like this, it's because it's the possibility of shattering your little world that you've created, that if it's not in your world, it can't be. You can't have it. It can't work. And I think, I joke with Brian a lot because he is very skeptical about, the paranormal, as far as, our paranormal investigations in haunted houses and things like that. And, it's funny, like there are times that he has said, I'm more skeptical now than I was before, but then someone will say, well, haven't you ever experienced anything? And he'll say, well, yeah, I have experienced a few things that I can't explain. I think what happens is that you have to have that, you have to be able to stop doing this and do this for a minute and just let it, get in and maybe shatter your little world for a minute.
I completely understand that. And I feel agnostic in that way. And that, if you want to posit an idea or a theory, I'm willing to listen to it. However, when it becomes, when there's the idea that, okay, this is something that is real and you just don't want to believe in it. For me, I need verifiable evidence. If you expect me to believe in it, it doesn't mean that I can't entertain the idea or hold the idea. But as far as, believing that aliens, for example, the ancient aliens helped build our civilization. There's a TV show about that. And I find that very difficult to believe without anything, that I can look at and say, okay, yeah, this probably happened, for example. But it doesn't mean that I can't entertain the idea.
And I want to, with Rob, with what you just said, we all have our preconceived notions of things, but the other thing that's also very human is our difficulty with I don't know. We often really, and this goes for pretty much everybody, we like to say, we don't like to say I don't know, which for many things, like when we do investigations, and I admit I've had things happen to me and I've seen things, I've experienced things, I've heard things that I can't readily explain. Do I know exactly what those things were? No. And I'm okay with saying I don't know. And I think, a lot of the stuff that I've experienced is definitely interesting. I admit to you when I'm like, when something hits me and I'm like, whoa, that's definitely interesting. And that needs to be explored more. And that's when I really kind of focus in and try and debunk it. And then I can't debunk it and I get frustrated. And, but that's when, we have our best kind of evidence is when we can't explain what we have there. And
right. And I think, and again, it's that moment when you can stop doing this and do this. And it's the entertainment of that process. And I think what happens is, I forget what movie it was from, and you're gonna tell me right away as soon as I say it, but 750 years ago we knew the earth was flat. 500 years ago we knew that the stars were nothing but pinpricks in the curtain of night. 60 years ago it was just a dream to put someone on the moon. All of those things have it's all come to fruition that we understand more of it.
Oh, sure.
And I think what's happening with that, there's the Drake equation that if the chances are so remote that if there is another intelligent species somewhere, anywhere in our galaxy or neighboring galaxy, that it would find our planet is so astronomical. But then again, the fucking Kardashians get 5,000 people or 5,000 people a minute to tune into that piece of shit train wreck.
Both things are unexplainable,
right? So it's the aliens could be looking at us and going, holy shit, look at these fucked up motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's why I don't think that they're coming. They viewed us from a distance and they're like, nope.
I think it might also be a timing issue too. And we sometimes fail to recognize that we're dealing with epochs of time that in the grand scheme of the universe are blips.
Right.
So the odds of there being millions of civilizations having existed are very much in our favor. The odds that we're all existing simultaneously, very much not. And we tend to sort of forget that sometimes, that, and for the most part, society, as in a highly technologically advanced society, we probably don't stick around that long once we reach our tipping point. So we do reach this tipping point where we have so much technology that it's very easy to destroy ourselves. Or we have to sort of get over, unfortunately, our more barbaric impulses and use that technology for, interstellar travel. And we're talking about maybe quantum mechanics, things where we're really looking at our technology as in how does this affect the very reality that we live in, or we let our petty differences lob bombs over the line at each other, and most of the time I would have to think it's a 50-50 chance you're either going to completely decimate and destroy everything you've built, or you're going to get past it. You're going to get past that hump. You're going to get past that tipping point. So, if we're going with 50-50, then hell, out of a million civilizations, the really good odds are that half of them survived and got past the tipping point. The more realistic odds that it's probably somewhere around 18%.
Well, I'm going to throw out news story. I'm going to throw out news story number 2, and you'll find out where we're like nowhere near in that 50-50 category, this planet. So as you know, on our news stories, a couple of, going on 4 weeks ago now, you challenged me to the Florida man.
Yes.
And then put any 2 words after Florida man, and there will be a news story.
Mm-hmm.
So I have now, for the 4th week in a row, just typed in Florida man and taken the first news story that has come up. This one proves that if there are 1 million, intelligent civilizations out there, we're that 1,000,001. We're the one. Yeah. So, Florida man, this is on video, and he was struck by a car while exiting a convenience store in Tampa. A 21-year-old woman was driving an SUV. She meant to step on the brake, hit the accelerator, and drove into this gentleman who was leaving the convenience store. He was thrown backwards through the doors, shattering the glass, landing on the floor. Police were there. Do you want to know what the first question Florida man asked the sheriff's deputy?
Please do tell.
Anyone want to guess?
It's Florida man. Could be anything.
How about, is the beer I just bought okay?
Yeah.
Yep. Wouldn't have gone with that one.
Yeah.
Hit by car, thrown backwards through window. Is my beer okay?
Wow. I mean, it's the reason he went to the store.
Yeah. Okay.
And let's face it, that's the dangling thread of whether your day is just bad or really bad.
Right. Like it's bad. But if the 12-pack split open all over the floor, fuck.
Okay,
right.
So admittedly, not just because I have to know every detail of any story, but because I do get heavily invested in what happens to people's beer, I can see myself having a conversation and them going, yeah, so I went to get beer. I'm coming out of the liquor store. I get physically struck by a vehicle, and I'm laying there. I can see myself going, hey, listen, I hate to interrupt you. What about the beer?
Right. I realize you're splinting my leg right now. And my arm is on backwards.
You have a clamp on. You have a clamp on my femoral artery.
Yeah. How about that 12-pack of Old Milwaukee? Is that,
Right.
Okay. How many survived the crash?
Yeah, I had a 40 ounce of Old English in there, and that is a glass bottle.
Yes.
Well, Keystone, it's got the glass lined cans. Yeah.
Right. These things are fragile.
Right.
As is obviously our grip on the real world when we're more concerned about the beer than our physical well-being. And I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that.
But I mean, this just goes to prove exactly why that we'll never know if there are intelligent creatures in those crafts, because as we showed the other day when we ran down the states of all the, California 1, Florida 2.
You know,
And we all think of California as like San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles. Oh no, there's some real bumfuck parts of California that are like scary, scary redneck. So,
oh yeah, yeah.
So between Florida and California, the intelligent creatures are buzzing by in their tic tac on. Oh, holy shit! Don't stop! Don't stop! You know, but, the wife was actually trying to say, "Can you please stop for directions?" And the husband was like kind of swooping in, and then the wife was like, "No, fuck it, don't stop here, don't stop here." It's the scene from Vacation when they're going through St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. Like before, the advent of the smartphone, when I had like my Garmin, right? No matter where I was at in the tri-state area, it would always try to put me right in the center of Newark. And I never understood it.
Right.
But now I do. I think that's the equivalent of an interstellar GPS.
Right.
I'm sitting here thinking, and it just came to me that I think we may be giving these extraterrestrial advanced civilizations too much credit. I think if there is going to be an advanced civilization, much like we're an advanced civilization on our planet, they're going to have, there's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be anomalies. And there's at this point, there should have been an extraterrestrial that like crashed into an IHOP or wandered into some kind of film festival by accident, something. Well, some moron of their advanced race, and they're just sitting there in their ship going, "Look at Charlie."
Yeah.
Come on.
Again, it's the thing where they've got some kind of pan-galactic microbrew or something aboard their ship.
Right.
They do. And one of them sitting there going, "Hey, listen, do you remember the place they were talking about when we were like in 3rd grade?" "Yeah, Ert. It's like, "No, it wasn't Ert, but it was close. You want to go there?" And then that's what happens.
Man. That's what I'm saying.
We're not supposed to go to Ert. And then they end up going anyways. Yeah. I also feel that we probably think that we're going to be imparted some kind of fantastic godlike knowledge and technology. And I have a feeling we're going to get some really stupid answers to our questions if we ever do. Like, for example, what do you know about the human rectum that we don't?
Oh.
Because that tends to be where you guys always go first. No pass and go, no collecting $200. It's like you're straight for the O-ring. You go there automatically. Every single abduction story was like, that was kind of nice. There was a big light. I was really warm. And then things took a turn. And then that's how the story goes. But we're going to be like, hey, listen, what do you know about this holiest of holies that we don't? And I think that they're just going to like tilt their head and say something to the effect of, well, that's interesting. And then we're going to get an explanation that we don't want at all.
Yeah, it's going to be like, well, that was my Uncle Phil. And there's like a restraining order on Uncle Phil. And because he couldn't do that anymore on our planet, he just came to your planet.
See, that's what we think. We're so egocentric that we might think an entire civilization is doing this to us. It might just be 2 guys.
Right. It's Uncle Phil. And
Uncle Phil and his friend Bob.
2 guys over and over.
Half a beard.
Yeah.
It only grows on one side, the beard. And yeah.
This isn't like the whole of Zeta Reticula. There's one backdoor man out there. One. And he's doing all of it by himself.
Uncle Phil, yeah.
Just Uncle Phil. Uncle Filthy.
Phil.
I have a feeling that like if they do like impart knowledge to us, it's going to be like, you guys know that if you rub 2 sticks together, it makes fire. Like, yeah, we're past that.
Yeah.
Okay, then you know that, you know, if it's round, it'll roll easier. We're past that.
Mhm.
All right, it's 1167 licks to get to the center of a
Yeah,
Tootsie
I
Pop.
don't think they've got anything for us.
That's an important answer. What
I-
if the aliens are not smarter than we are?
Excellent
What if we get the
question.
really
I
stupid
think
ones?
we're gonna be really disappointed because they're just
Oh,
gonna come down and we're gonna be like, please give us something, and they're gonna
Yeah.
walk out of there and they're gonna be like, huh? Huh?
Look,
And that's all we're gonna get.
At this point in our civilization, how we are right now, it doesn't matter what they tell us. Could be like the most genius thing in the world. 40 to 45% of us are going to be like, that's bullshit.
Or,
Yes. Yes.
or they're gonna put together an email with 6 hours of research in it, and we're
Yep.
finally gonna get to wherever ever we gotta go for the United Federation of Planets, and they're gonna be like, no, you guys studied up, you're looking real confident. And we're gonna be like, oh hell yeah. And they're gonna be like,
Mhm.
okay, so you read my my list of things in Messenger, right?
We can't read Rob's show prep.
Will it be in English?
That's what I'm saying. We get this shit handed to us on a platter, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, so you know, it could be a password.
Yeah.
That could be to get into United Federation of Planets, and the password could be password. And you know, we'd still
Right.
get there, and we'd have an excuse about how busy our week was.
You just gave me an idea.
You're going to change all your passwords to password.
1, 2, 3. No, I just typed in Florida man password.
Oh my!
Oh,
Oh, no.
This is amazing.
That always is.
is it?
The first 2 stories. The first one is Florida man attempting to rob bank leaves behind the job application form that he wrote the note on.
Yep.
Wow.
That had all his personal information on it. Also including his email and email password.
Well,
Better.
You know,
And then the next, and then the next one is from 7 days ago. It's game over for Florida man. Oh God, no, I don't think we want
so I just love the headlines too.
yes.
It's like they just can't get over being how fucking
Yeah.
clever they really are. It's game over for Florida man.
He apparently showed up to purchase an Xbox from someone, got hold of the Xbox and ran off, not realizing that the Xbox would have to have a password. So he attempted to call and ask, by the way, do you still have the Xbox? And if you do, how do you know the password to get into it?
Oh my!
Mhm.
See, this is why the aliens don't come.
tricky.
The aliens are just coming lower and lower, and then I'm not asking for directions here, Marge. I'm not doing it.
No.
We'll just
Collectively,
keep on
as
going.
a society, we can't even hold in our farts. I mean, let's just get down to brass tacks here. They're gonna spend 45 minutes with us, and they're gonna be back to making pelts and cowering in caves in like 2 months. Let's just get out of here.
Yep.
It's
And
a
the
fluke these guys even discovered TV. Come on.
Well, the thing that, what if the stupid alien lands here? What if that, just think about it. What if they come here and take something from us to bring back to their planet?
Yep.
Oh, then we just fucked up 2 whole planets.
Yep.
Yeah. We're going to ruin another planet simply through cholesterol.
Right.
I know it.
Yeah.
It's going to be the silent killer. It's not nukes.
No.
Somebody's going to come down here and they're going to take a bag of fucking Cheetos back to the home planet.
Yeah,
and
package of hot dogs.
And that's the
Mhm.
H.G. Wells War of the World's virus that destroys an entire civilization. It's just going to be processed cheese foods.
Yes.
See, everybody thinks when the Spaniards came to the New World, they brought influenza. Nope, they just brought deep fried cheese.
Now, and here's something that we also forget. Like, we never talk about this because we always think that we're going to get a downed UFO. We're going to get the occupants out. They're going to give us all this technology. You know, if you've got UFOs, you've got to have a factory somewhere, right? I mean, we just got to assume this, okay? We have to assume that if there's a physical, tangible vehicle, there are creatures making it, right? And if they're making it somewhere, they're making it in a place. Probably a building, right? And if it's in a building, they're not all making these things. They've got a process. They've got middle management. They've got fucking janitors. We always suspect that we're going to get a downed UFO, and it's going to be, you know, fucking like, you know, one of the fucking professors at a Jurassic Park. That we're going to get, you know, like a chaotician come out of this fucking UFO. There's a greater possibility the guy coming out of the UFO is the guy changing the oil.
Well,
we just don't think of it that often.
What if it's just the dude who got lost? Like, right? He
might not know shit.
You're talking, right?
You know what just popped into my head?
I mean, look at how many. Like, I drove around today for a little bit, and I shook my head at about 8 drivers. Just like, how do you manage to not kill yourself?
Were you
still throughout a day?
Do you know how many?
I'm still in the douchemobile.
Do you know how many bad parts of bad towns I have drove into because I thought I was going to shit my pants?
All right, so
again, I have stopped at places that I wouldn't send any person in their right mind, but I've looked at it and I've been like, okay, I hear a chainsaw in the distance. There's blood on the wall. I'm going to shit my pants. I got to go in. I've got to see if they've got a bathroom.
As you were having your discussion about the UFO thing, 2 things popped into my head. The movie Gung Ho with Michael Keaton, and part of that movie where they take the newspaper away from the guy that was reading in the bathroom. And they're like, no, we're trying to encourage Dougie to read.
I mean, this guy's just looking for a twin star system somewhere. Takes a turn. Guess what? Those depth charges start. You know what I'm talking about? Like somebody's trying to sink your battleship. You hear it. You feel it. You got to find a bathroom. You got to find a bathroom immediately. I got to tell you, our whole planet sort of looks like a toilet right now.
A little bit.
I don't disagree.
If I saw it, I'd be like, that's a great place to take a shit. Right. Of course,
somebody else has. And all over it.
And plus, you know, you're going fast because you don't slow down when you got to go to the bathroom. You speed up.
Just so you know.
Then you get the poop sweats. Go ahead.
Florida man, toilet. Florida man tries for days to get large iguana out of his toilet.
Drives for days?
Tries for days.
Tries for days.
Tell me this wasn't a 1-bathroom home.
Like, these are all in the panhandle, right? These aren't like in like the main part of Florida. Please.
Florida man arrested for allegedly threatening another with a machete for not flushing a public toilet.
See, I have no problem with that one.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a very sort of a gender-centric question for you, EJ, because I always have to pick the brains of any female that will talk to me. And
not many of us, huh?
And there's so few that I rarely get this opportunity.
Gotcha.
So we're very
did Chanel get my check this week? Did Chanel get the check?
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, no, I did.
She's still talking to you, so she got the check.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So as guys, we're pretty like fecal centric. You know, I talk about poop quite a bit. And my friends talk about poop quite a bit as well. And we are and have been in the past impressed by poop. Like if I were to go into a public bathroom and see something that I would label startling, I would probably, instead of trying to deal with it, I would go get someone. I would say, you need to take a look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Are women just as bad in that sense? Like if you walked in and there was something that, I mean, you look at it and you're like, that person had to be 12 feet tall. There's no way they could have created that unless they were a giant. Would you then grab someone and go, come on?
I feel like I would, instead of grabbing them or taking a picture, I feel like I'd rather describe it to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just really use a lot of exaggerations as well.
But would you feel the need to?
Not necessarily. I think it would depend on.
That's the
person.
difference.
Yeah. Like, if it's your work spouse, that's one thing. You kind of have that camaraderie, but not just anybody. No.
I love the fact that you even further romanticize this act. Like, you wouldn't just take a picture of it. Like, you've written a sea shanty. It's a song.
Yes.
About the thing
I would totally do that.
I've taken the time to compose a limerick.
Right.
Right. Well, I'm a writer, so that would come naturally.
But there's only so many times you look over your shoulder and go, what rhymes with peanut?
You just pull out thesaurus.com and you're all set.
Right. No more rhymes now. I mean,
but I also got to admit too that as men, we're not really forward thinkers. So when we see something like this, an object, an artifact, if you will, there's not a point where we think that we're gonna like drop the phone on it. We just bring the phone out and we stage to get the best angle, when what really we should be thinking about is there's a possibility, slim as it might be, that this phone is going to fall out of my hand,
right,
and then just stick upright into
I think it also speaks to the fact that men are much more visual normally, so I'm sure that's why you want to show somebody else as opposed to women.
And I think we're also, as men, we're known to lie and exaggerate. So I could go to a friend and
I caught a fish this big.
Right.
Right.
I could go to a friend and say, listen, I'm pretty sure this had a circumference of 14 inches.
Yeah.
You need to see this. So we need to set up, a perimeter here. And if anyone looks like they've prolapsed, we need to stop them because that's our guy. But yeah, we're always sort of using our hands, and we're very visual like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can't see showing another woman that at all.
Is it wrong of a guy to take a picture of that and show it to a woman?
Please don't.
That explains
on behalf of all womankind. Yeah, just please don't do that.
Is it wrong to print that picture out?
Now here's another question.
In case you lose your phone.
Do women who do not know each other have conversations in the bathroom? Like, have you ever just walked into the bathroom and had someone just start talking to you from like next door?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, because there's a guy code that like.
By the way, my wife walks in. She's barely heard 3 words. She just is like, "Poop." Talking about poop. Because we've already got through aliens, so it can only be one other thing.
So that's
poop,
it.
You guys are talking about. Okay.
We've come full circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, look at you.
Oh. Oh my. Oh my. On that note, again, it's the fastest night on the internet. We want to thank everyone for tuning in, and those very few of you who did actually stick around for the entire episode. As always, I am Ash Hamilton. I'm with Rob Pastilli, Brian Cardilli, and EJ Hammond. We've got some fantastic shows lined up for you that do actually have a format, believe it or not, a little bit of structure. We're all going to do ourselves a favor. We're going to check everything that Rob sends us from now on.
Yes.
I know that I've got a lot of backlogging I got to get through for some of the stuff that Rob has sent me in the past. and I apologize. We want to thank everyone who stopped and everyone who is in the chat room tonight. Thanks so much, and we will see you within a week.